player with the white pieces commences the game. A player is said to have the move when his opponent's move has been made. The objective of each player is to place the opponent's king under attack in such a way that the opponent has no legal move. The player who achieves this goal is said to have checkmated the opponent's king and to have won the game. Leaving one's own king under attack, exposing one's own king to attack and also capturing the opponent's king are not allowed. The opponent whose king has been checkmated has lost the game. If the position is such that neither player can possibly checkmate, the game is drawn. Article 2. The initial position of the pieces on the chessboard. The chessboard is composed of an 8x8 grid of 64 equal squares, alternately light, the white squares, and dark, the black squares. The chessboard is placed between the players in such a way that the near corner square to the right of the player is white. At the beginning of the game, one player has 16 light-colored pieces, the white pieces. The other has 16 dark-colored pieces, the black pieces. The 8 vertical columns of squares are called files. The 8 horizontal rows of squares are called ranks. A straight line of squares of the same color, running from one edge of the board to an adjacent edge, is called a diagonal. Removed from the chessboard as part of the same move. A piece is said to attack an opponent's piece if the piece could make a capture on that square. According to the a piece is considered to attack a square, even if such a piece is constrained from moving to that square because it would then leave or place the king of its own color under attack. The bishop may move to any square along a diagonal on which it stands. 3.3 The rook may move to any square along the file or the rank on which it stands. The queen may move to any square along the file, the rank or a diagonal on which it. When making these moves, the bishop, rook or queen may not move over any intervening pieces. The knight may move to one of the squares nearest to that on which it stands but not on the same rank, file or diagonal. A. The pawn may move forward to the unoccupied square immediately in front of it on the same file, or B. On its first move the pawn may move as in 3.7. Or alternatively it may advance 2 squares along the same file provided both squares are unoccupied, or C. The pawn may move to a square occupied by an opponent's piece, which is diagonally in front of it on an adjacent file, capturing that piece. D. A pawn attacking a square crossed by an opponent's pawn which has advanced 2 squares in one move from its original square may capture this opponent's pawn as though the latter had been moved only 1 square. This capture is only legal on the move following this advance and is called an en passant capture. E. When a pawn reaches the rank furthest from its starting position, it must be exchanged as part of the same move on the same square for a new queen, rook, bishop or knight of the same color. The player's choice is not restricted to pieces that have been captured previously. This exchange of a pawn for another piece is called promotion and the effect of the new piece is immediate. 3.8a. There are 2 different ways of moving the king. By moving to any adjoining square not attacked by one or more of the opponent's pieces, or by castling. This is a move of the king and either rook of the same color along the player's first rank, counting as a single move of the king and executed as follows. The king is transferred from its original square 2 squares towards the rook on its original square, then that rook is transferred to the square the king has just crossed. B. 1. The right to castle has been lost. A. If the king has already moved, or B. With a rook that has already moved. 2. Castling is prevented temporarily. A. If the square on which the king stands, or the square which it must cross, or the square which it is to occupy, is attacked by one or more of the opponent's pieces, or b. if there is any piece between the king and the rook with which castling is to be effected. 3.9 The king is said to be in check if it is attacked by one or more of the opponent's pieces, even if such pieces are constrained from moving to that square because they would then leave or place their own king in check. No piece can be moved that will either expose the king of the same color to check or leave that king in check.